app right now. We have full video. Joel already posted some video clips with both Miles and Kip from yesterday. You can see those on my X and my Instagram, as well as the show's X and Instagram, which is at Trunk Nation SXM. And of course, my personal is at Eddie Trunk. I was just talking to Joel off the air because, I got the Facebook page, which is what I, sometimes post on, but admittedly, I am awful with Facebook and not all that engaged there. There's a big audience on that page. So I was just talking to Joel just seconds before I came on the air because there's so much good little clips and video and stuff that he posts. And, he posted on the show accounts, and then I can just repost it on the X and Instagram. I can't do that on Facebook. We don't have an official show Facebook page. So I'm going to turn the keys over to Joel shortly on the Facebook page and give him access to that. So some of this good stuff that he's posting on these other platforms can go up there as well, because I just don't have the time and I don't have the expertise in that area as well. So that'll be helpful for sure as we continue to build out the social media platform and footprint a little bit. There is also now, as of very recently, a TikTok, which is something that Joel does, and that is Trunk Nation SXM. Joel, these clips with Miles and Kip that you put on the other two, that's on there now too?
Yeah, that's all on TikTok. And what I'm doing at the beginning while we're launching the TikTok is I'm putting some clips exclusively on TikTok before they go out on the other socials. So anybody who wants to see some of these clips a little earlier can go over there and check it out. But they'll all eventually circulate on X and Instagram.
And eventually the Facebook page too. So
yes, and now the Facebook page.
Yeah. And of course, for long form video, we now have the at Eddie Trunk YouTube channel. And if you go there, you're going to see in the last couple days, I put up like 3 interviews. Wes Scantlin, Vinny Appice, as well as all the other stuff. If you're not aware of that, there's great stuff up there. Bruce Dickinson in the studio, Styx in the studio, tons of stuff starting to be added there as well. And again, that's just simply at Eddie Trunk on the channel there on YouTube. So getting all that stuff out there. But of course, you guys who listen every day and are subscribers and listen live, you get it all exclusively live as it happens in full depth. And you get that for a while. So we appreciate all of you very, very much. Always just trying to grow the show, even after doing this 10 years, this particular show. Still always cool to find new people coming on board and continuing to get the word out. And I appreciate all of you guys spreading the word as well. I hear from people all the time just discovering this show, even though we've been doing it daily for 10 years now, coming up on exactly 10 years. And we're still going to work on doing some sort of cool event, hopefully a little later in the year, to commemorate the 10th anniversary of the daily rock talk show that we do here called Trunk Nation. More on that when we get that figured out, but that's being discussed right now. But yeah, even so, I mean, it's still always good to get new people on board. So thank you for spreading the word and telling others about it. And, whether it's the folks on the Fans of Trunk Nation Facebook group there, or just people telling other people, or, other rock fans, just, tell them what's going on over here and what's been going on for the last 10 years and get them involved in our community. Always, always welcome and always appreciate new people coming on board. So we close out the week here. And again, you can get caught up with everything from this past week, including Bret Michaels back on Monday. As I just mentioned, Kip and Miles. We've had a lot of good stuff this week. All of it's on the app for your listening enjoyment over the weekend to get caught up if you'd like. This is the final show from land. It's a weird thing to say. We're not going to outer space. But I am about to embark on the next Monsters of Rock cruise, which I don't know how many there's been. I stopped counting a while ago. I think we're somewhere around 13, 15, something like that. And I have hosted every single one of those bad boys, and I will do the honors again when we sail on Sunday. There is a pre-event on Saturday in Miami at the Magic City, which, by the way, is open to the public. It's ticketed, but anybody can go, even if you're not going on the cruise. Headlined by Y&T, who I'm super glad are back out there and doing stuff. I've been a little bit since I've seen them and just love that band. And they're also on the cruise itself, which leaves on Sunday. Literally over 50 bands on the cruise. It is incredible. So I've already got my schedule, which is extremely busy for the 5 nights of the cruise. And included in that will be bringing you this radio show, if all goes well, every day live as usual at 3 o'clock Eastern from the ship. I never get off the ship, even in the stops. I'm always moving, always working, always doing my thing. And part of that is bringing you this show from the cruise with whatever guests I wrangle on any given day. It's kind of rare sometimes, the way I do this, as I mentioned the other day, is it's so overwhelming, the amount of people and bands on there, that I kind of just pick people off as we go. Like during the course of, say, Monday, I'll be walking around and be like, oh, there's Michael Sweet. Oh, there's Jack Blades. Hey, you want to come on? Can you come on? And it's just kind of just as we go. I already got contacted by somebody in Steve Harris's camp because he's on there with British Lions. So we'll see if we get him. We'll see. It's the other obstacle beyond the fact that you're on a ship, beyond the fact that there's a ton of people on the ship, beyond the fact that there's a ton of bands on the ship. The other obstacle is everyone's schedules. Because, of course, I'm on live 3 to 5 Eastern. And, in that window, some bands play. And there's multiple stages. And some bands are doing signings, meet and greets, whatever. Some, if we're in a stop, got off the stop. So, it's kind of very fly by the seat of the pants. But it's fun. There's a live audience. And you never know what the hell's going to happen on any given day. So we plan to broadcast live from the cruise Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, which are all weekdays this week for the cruise. And then once we're done Thursday, the ship comes in Friday, and then I stay on the ship. And the ship transitions right into another cruise. Everybody gets off, including all the bands. And then it becomes another cruise, which is Summer of 99, which I am happy to be back on board as well as a host, and I will transition right into that. So going into a late 90s mode. So 9 days on that exact ship, but it's actually great that it works out where they're back to back like that, and I can kind of just stay on. I have to get off, I have to move rooms, I have to check back in, but the ship literally turns around and goes right back out. As there's so many of these charter music cruises now, it's incredible. So, and that, of course, is headlined by Creed, and that I do not do radio from, as I mentioned. So that is just doing some hosting stuff and things that the bands and the cruise needs me to do, and that goes over a weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and then comes in on Tuesday. So looking ahead to that point, because no radio from that cruise, you will get best of shows after Monsters Friday, Monday, and Tuesday, which is my travel day back. But don't worry about that. Just know you're getting 4 all-new live shows next week from Monsters of Rock. And then best of's the Friday, Monday, Tuesday after, and then back live with you on that Wednesday. So the schedule is nuts in April. And lastly, just filling out my activities for April. Do not forget, if you happen to be in the area of Yuma, Arizona, April 25th, the Kayshawn Resort and Casino, my second time back there, hosting Cheap Trick, one of the greats. Always good to see Cheap Trick, and can't wait to host them and host their show at the casino there in what is technically Winter Haven, California, but the main city that's just a couple miles away is Yuma. So if you happen to be anywhere in striking distance of that and you're listening, I hope to see you there for that as well. And I'll be out and about watching the show with you guys and meeting and greeting and introing the band and etc. All right, so as you can hear, a lot going on. And I'll do my best to update you on socials when I can. Again, sometimes things are limited when you're on a cruise ship as far as what you can get out, what you can connect with, what you can get as far as social media, internet, or whatever. But seems to get a little better every year, given the advancements in Wi-Fi and what have you, and things getting a little better with, remote access to the internet. So I want to mention this real quickly. I got an advance of the coming UFO reissue for their album, The Wild, Willing, and the Innocent. As you probably know, UFO, one of my all-time favorite bands, and they have been reissuing their catalog with these deluxe editions. No Place to Run was a recent one, first album with the great late Paul Chapman. And the second album with the late, great Paul Chapman is going to be reissued. That is The Wild, Willing, and the Innocent. I got an advanced CD of it. I posted a photo of it. So cool, so great. It includes a concert from that era that was previously unreleased, some cool packaging. We are scheduled to have Phil Mogg on the show in May to discuss this. I'm looking forward to talking to Phil. I'm still trying to talk Phil into doing one last UFO show. He went through some serious health stuff, made that Mogg's Motel record, but still representing UFO as really him and Andy Parker, the only surviving members from the original band. So Phil is scheduled with us in May. And if you're a big UFO fan, again, the Chapman stuff to me is so criminally underrated by some. I mean, there's a contingency of people that are like, oh, it's only about the Schenker stuff. The Schenker stuff is brilliant, but that makes me mental because if you've never listened to Wild, Willing, Innocent or Mechanics or No Place to Run or Making Contact, you are missing out. Paul Chapman was a monster. But it was very hard to come into the shadow of Schenker. I understand that, but those records and those songs are incredible. And I was listening to this record the other day. It took me back. Wild, Willing, and Innocent was the first tour I ever saw UFO on, playing with Cheap Trick back in 1981. I was still in high school. That was the year the record came out. And by the way, I was mentioning the other day that thrash metal doc that I watched, and Gary Holt and Kirk Hammett just talking about UFO many, many times in that documentary and how much they love UFO and how much it was an influence on them. And I texted Kirk Hammett last night. It didn't go through, so I have a feeling he probably changed his number, as many of these major artists do, every year or so. But when I went to see Metallica a couple years ago in LA for their charity thing, All Within My Hands, they did an acoustic set. And they played a song from The Wild, Willing, and the Innocent called It's Killing Me, which blew my mind. And at the after party, I went running up to Kirk, and he's like, yeah, I knew you were going to get excited about that. So cool. I wish they'd record it. They've done so many covers. I wish they'd record it. Speaking of covers, one other thing here before we dive into news and then get over to your calls. And this is ironic and interesting. So a friend of mine, Dr. Mark, sent me a text the other day. So this one of the shows we did earlier this week was how you feel about bands playing covers live, which was touched off by this little bit of a spurt online because I had made just a post on X last week when I was in Brazil saying that bands that I love with deep catalogs, I'd rather hear their songs than hear covers. And that created a whole debate and everybody weighed in and, whatever. And we had a discussion about it on the air earlier this week. I had no idea about this until somebody pointed it out to me, but apparently on Howard Stern this week, I think it was on his show on Monday, because I think he only does Monday, Tuesday now. Somebody called in, a regular concert goer, and Howard went on a whole thing about how he wishes bands didn't do covers live. Few people told me that. I don't think it is connected to our thing and what went on online with me. But the irony of that and the timing of that was pretty funny. So I didn't hear everything from that show, but it sounded like he was kind of in my camp at least, which again is very case by case. All right, let's get into some news and then we'll get into calls and we'll let you guys take the show the rest of the way when I wrap up here. We'll start here. Speaking of covers, recorded covers, today a new version of the Queensryche classic Silent Lucidity was released. This song features Jeff Tate, who was just on this show, on vocals. It also includes a guy by the name of Kurt Dimer, who has been making the rounds for a little bit now. I know Kurt. I knew Kurt back before he used his real name. He initially started his career under the stage name of Baldman. During the pandemic, Kurt actually went out on tour under the name Baldman. And ever since has been out making music and opening for people under his real name of Kurt Dimer. Kurt's a real good guy. He's a guy that's had a lot of success in the business world and is now chasing his passion of fronting a rock band and also of doing horror movies. And he did a horror movie that's tied in as well. But he also is open for a lot of different artists, including, I believe, Jeff Tate at one point. And he's got Jeff Tate on this track with him on a new version of Silent Lucidity. There's also some suicide prevention message in the video. I was not aware, and I still don't know if Silent Lucidity was written. It was written by Chris DeGarmo, by the way. I don't know if that was anything to do with the original song, but they've applied that here on this remake in some way. Also released today, new music from Billy Morrison. Billy, who I just saw playing with Royal Machines, is also the guitarist with Billy Idol next to Steve Stevens. And he also was the co-host when Ozzy Osbourne did interview segments on Boneyard. And Billy was very close with Ozzy, and I think they were kind of like sober partners or what have you. And Billy's a good guy. Again, I just saw him recently in Vegas, and I also saw him in the LA studios last time I was there because he still does stuff on Sirius XM. And we talked for a little bit in the hall, and he told me he had a new track coming that featured Sully Erna on vocals and Nuno Bettencourt, who, again, is everywhere these days on guitar. And today that track came out. It's called Becoming. There's also a music video for it that also features Sully and Nuno in it. Sully and Nuno, of course, are both from the Boston area, so they've got some common ties there. But it's a really good song. It's ripping. It's a ripping original song. And as usual, Nuno just crushing on the whole thing. Just a quick note here. If you happen to go see Jason Bonham's Led Zeppelin show last night in Arizona, you may have seen, surprisingly, a guitarist that was not Mr. Jimmy, the guitar player that Jason Bonham has been using forever in his live show, who replicates Jimmy Page down to the look and the movements and right down to the mistakes. There's a documentary about Mr. Jimmy called Mr. Jimmy, who is Japanese and from Japan, and how his obsession with Jimmy Page, and he has been playing with Jason Bonham for a while. But apparently, Mr. Jimmy had an issue getting into America from Japan, which apparently is a common thing because the guys in Loudness seem to have that problem all the time. Although, as I mentioned, even though Loudness has canceled their club shows, they are scheduled to be on the Monsters of Rock cruise. That's what I was told. We both have the same booking agent, and the agent told me they are planning to be on the cruise and to come over just for the cruise. So hopefully that'll happen, and hopefully we can get them on the air if they actually do make it over. But the problem with them putting them on the air is there's obviously a language barrier. They still do not speak very good English, so it's a little challenging to do interviews with them, but I'm going to try. So we'll see if that works out and they actually make it onto the ship on Sunday, but they are planning to. But anyway, Mr. Jimmy had some holdup, did not get there in time for the show in Arizona last night. And my good friend Brent Woods, who plays in Gene Simmons' band these days, got a last-minute call and ended up playing on a few hours' notice with Zeppelin, with Jason Bonham's band last night on the Zeppelin show. Right when I got off the air, Brent called me, who lives in LA, and he was like flipping out. He's like, I just got a call. He goes, he's asking me about this airline called JSX, which I use, that goes from like California to Vegas, California to Nevada, California, Texas. You know, that's a semi-private airline that's affordable, that's amazing. And I fly it often. And he's never done it. He's like, it's the only way I could probably make it. I go, okay, here's what you do. I was walking him through it. And sure enough, he made it, and he played on that show last night. So if you were wondering where Mr. Jimmy was, that's what happened. But I believe he made it into the country for the remaining tour dates now going forward. I didn't even realize Jason was out doing the Zeppelin shows again, but hopefully I can catch one somewhere soon. I got to look at the listing because that's phenomenal. More new music to tell you about. Peter Frampton released a new song today called Lions at the Gate, featuring another guy who's everywhere, Tom Morello, another guy who's a friend of the show, of course. May 15th, Frampton's new album comes out. That album is called Carry the Light. It's a collaboration with his son, but this track released today is a collaboration with Morello. Also, the Keanu Reeves band Dogstar released a new track today. Keanu Reeves, of course, the famous actor, has had this band Dogstar on and off for a number of years now. It's kind of rested for a while, but now it is reactivated with a new album coming. Also, and again, a ton of new music here today on this Friday, so Joel's going to have some fun playing DJ and figuring out what he's going to play. Evanescence, we've had Amy Lee on the show in the past, announced a new album called Sanctuary, not out until September. It is the first new Evanescence record in over 3 years, and a track has been released from it already today called Who Will You Follow? Thought this was interesting. You know, the goth metal band Type O Negative from back in the day. Sadly, Peter Steele, their lead singer and bass player, passed away now over 15 years ago, back in 2010. He was a troubled guy who had some issues, and unfortunately, he did not live to make it to 50. But he was a big figure in more ways than one. He was like 6'7", this guy. And I only interviewed him once, had brief exchanges with him, but, he is definitely missed, and Type O Negative, a very influential band that is definitely missed. And they have revealed that by the end of the year, they will release a live album that they have found from one of the classic performances. They were saying, Kenny Hickey was saying that there really was not that much professionally recorded from Type O Negative. Much of it is bootlegs, but they are trying to restore some stuff and to present something by the end of the year. By the way, Johnny Kelly, the drummer from Type O Negative, these days is the drummer in Quiet Riot. He was handpicked by Frankie Banali to replace him when Frankie was battling cancer and has remained in the band ever since. Quiet Riot is on the Monsters of Rock cruise, so maybe we'll grab Johnny and maybe get Rudy and just get some people to give us some. Again, it's going to be a hodgepodge of a lot of different things on the cruise. More new music. Foo Fighters released another new song today from their coming new album called Of All People. The album will be released on April 24th, so that is now getting closer. The album is called Your Favorite Toy. So another new Foo Fighters track out today. Yes has announced a new album called Aurora. It'll be out on June 12th. The legendary progressive rock band of the classic era, if you will. The current lineup of Yes includes Steve Howe and Jeff Downs. Like I said before, these guys are now in their nearly 80s. Why the surviving members just don't all coexist, I don't know, but there continues to be John Anderson who goes out and does his thing, and dynamic. Remember that word, dynamic. It's a nice word. It's a nice way of saying they're all insane. Night Ranger with a bunch of concert dates announced. That's the norm. Those guys are constantly on the road. They've even announced an event, a cruise early next year for 27. Night Ranger with dates scattered now throughout the summer, announcing dates through September. Be seeing Night Ranger on the Monsters of Rock cruise, which they are also playing among the nearly 50 or 55 bands on the ship this year. So I'm sure we'll grab Jack or Brad or somebody to come by on radio next week as well. Always good to visit with those guys, also old friends. Also, another new song released today, and this was killer. You know, the Black Crowes are going out on tour this summer with the country rock band Whiskey Myers. And of course, we had Rich Robinson on the show recently. The new album, Pound of Feathers, is out there. It's really good. Today, the Crowes released a new song that's not on the album, but it's a cover of the Rolling Stones tune Star Star. And it's a collaboration between the Black Crowes and Whiskey Myers. They even made a video for it, which you can see. And it's a kick-ass Stone song, and the Crowes and Whiskey Myers did a kick-ass new cover of it. So obviously they did this to promote the tour together. It's not on the new Black Crowes album, but it's a way to hear the bands playing together since they're going out together on the road this summer. But check that out. It is kick-ass. And speaking of the Stones, final thing from me here today, there is heavy rumors for the whole week we've been hearing that the Stones are going to release new music. And this is being teased in England because they are teasing, and a website has gone up for a band called the Cockroaches. Now, the significance of that is the Stones played under that name once back in the late 70s. There is a rock club, famous rock club in Toronto called the El Macombo. As a matter of fact, a few years ago, we had Eddie Kramer, the legendary producer, on this show, and he was working on that club at the time, like restoring the sound system. Anyway, Stones played a surprise gig there once back in the late 70s under the name, the alias, the Cockroaches. And that is why people are suspecting that this teasing of a new song from the Cockroaches is actually a new Stones song. The name of the song is rumored to be Rough and Twisted. And reports are that this will be exclusively released on vinyl as a 45 to hit tomorrow, which is really odd for a Saturday. Now, it's not, Joel, is it Record Store Day tomorrow?
Let me double check that.
I thought it was next week, but is it tomorrow? Maybe that's the connection. That could be.
No, Record Store Day is next week. You were right. It's Saturday the 18th.
Yeah. So if they were going to release a vinyl single on a Saturday, you would think it would be next Saturday as a Record Store Day deal. But the rumor is it's coming tomorrow. So who knows? You'll find out if a new Stones song pops up. It's extremely rare for a label or a band to release new music on a weekend day. because, the idea obviously is radio stations play it and add it and what have you, which, most radio stations and personnel are not working on the weekend. That being said, there is a way to do it. They could have the song already and do what they call put it under embargo, meaning you can't play it, you can't talk about it, so it could be in the system and they could just automate it to play on a Saturday. I don't know. Maybe they're just doing it as something different, unique. I'm not sure. But anyway, that is the rumor, that the song is called Rough and Twisted. The album coming. The album is believed to be produced once again by Andrew Watt, who did Hackney Diamonds. And it is not known if the Stones will tour. We've not heard anything about a tour. But if they did, you gotta think it would be kind of like a farewell thing. You gotta. I mean, people have been talking about the Stones ending for 40 years now. By the way, they haven't. But, just the assumption, just because of whether back in the day it was the excesses and the drugs or whether now it's the age. But like I said, I saw them on the last tour and they had nothing to be embarrassed about. They killed it. So who knows? I'm sure cockroaches is a reference to the fact that, cockroaches can live through anything, and seemingly the Stones can as well. Although sadly, obviously, Charlie Watts has, died a few years back. All right. So that's what I got. It's a lot to close out the week here on a Friday to get you caught up on. Joel, what do you got? Anything you want to jump in on?
No, you covered everything, even all the new music that we've got to play today. We'll get started, though. We'll hear from Evanescence, who announced their new album. It's the first single, Who Will You Follow?
Okay, so as you know, when we have new music, we don't usually never play full shows in this show, being that it's a talk show. But we do play you clips, and you can then easily make a determination like the sound of it. And the beauty of the world we're in now, for better or worse, is in 2 seconds you can go listen to it on your phone or save it on your phone and listen to it when hopefully the show's over.
Free for All Friday with Eddie Trunk.
He's very well read.
Sirius XM.
So effing good.
Faction Talk. Free for All Friday
Kind of cool. See what everybody's thinking.
with Eddie Trunk.
I totally agree.
Trunk Nation. Sirius XM. Faction Talk.
Okay, here we go on the phones, whatever you want to get into. Just a couple things that Joel corrected me on. The Billy Morrison song actually came out last week. The video is what came out today. I did not hear it last week, so I missed it.
I meant that's my bad. It was 2 weeks ago, and I did play it on our Free for All Friday.
Okay, so a lot going on here, guys. I can't keep it all straight myself sometimes. That's why Joel has got me in line. All right, so anyway, the video's out today for that. 15 Monsters of Rock cruises, so this would be 16. Wow, okay. All right, let's get over to the phones, see what you guys want to get into. It is all good. As long as it's in the world of rock music, that's what we're looking for. And we will begin our calls today with, where are we going to go? Let's go to Florida and get Mark on here to get us started. Go ahead, Mark.
Brother Trunk, love your show, man. Thanks for taking my call.
Thank you, man.
Hey, I literally just walked in the door. I live in St. Augustine, Florida. I went to Atlanta yesterday to see Zach Sabbath, Black Label Society, and Dark Chapel, and wanted to give you a little rundown.
All right.
So the venue is the Tabernacle in Atlanta. Have you ever heard of it or been there?
I've heard of it. I heard it's really cool, but I don't think I've been there, but I've heard of it.
It is a great fucking venue, Eddie. It was the perfect size. It sounded excellent for everything those three bands did. It's basically a giant old church in the middle of Atlanta. Really fucking cool. Really
Yeah,
cool.
I've heard about it.
So,
I don't think I've been there, but I went to a venue once in Atlanta I thought was like that. Mark, it's been so many years and so many shows, I can't remember for sure, but I remember going to some venue in Atlanta. I haven't been to Atlanta much at all, actually, in my life, but I do remember going to a show there, and it could have been, but it might have been somewhere else. I don't remember. It might have been tied into a KISS convention or something one day. I don't remember.
Yeah, it's a real big old brick building, and it used to be a church. But ask Zach about it, because the fucking place was just nuts for everything they did. Dark Chapel was great. He broke into one song that it sounded to me like a kind of like an Aerosmith kind of vibe to it, which was cool, because I'm pretty sure he's from Massachusetts. Dario?
Well, Dario lives in Vegas. I know that. I don't know where he's from originally, but he's a Vegas guy for many, many years.
So yeah, it sounded somewhat like old school Aerosmith. Very good old school hard rock. Dude, Zach Sabbath. Have you seen the Zach Sabbath show?
I did. I saw it in Vegas.
It's fucking amazing, dude.
Yep.
It blew me away. The lights, the everything, man. The drummer with the small drum set, but he kicked ass. I mean, dude, NIB was just chills. It was fucking amazing. The crowd was going nuts. They were singing the lyrics. Zach would stop singing, and the freaking crowd took it away and just kept singing, and he loved it. And then, of course, BLS. I had never seen BLS, so this was a bucket list show for me. That's why I drove 6 fucking hours up there and 6 hours back. Yeah, but it was awesome because he wasn't playing anywhere around me, and I'm like, I gotta see Black Label. And then bonus, Zach Sabbath, dude, that thing. Because I heard the show where he was like, and we're gonna do another Black Sabbath album, and they're like, why? But it's so good. It is so good.
Mark, real quick, is Zach doing in the BLS set, is he still doing, what is it, No More Tears? He's still doing an Ozzy song?
Yes, Zach crushed it, dude. Let me tell you what. His version sounded way better than any version I ever heard Ozzy play, and I saw Ozzy many times. He's got that voice. I mean, he nails the voice. It's amazing.
Yeah, Mark, I gotta run. I gotta run just because. Thanks, Mark. I'm just trying to move along here because there's so many calls on Fridays, and I'm just kind of give everybody a minute or two. Thank you, Mark, for that report. I appreciate it, and I'll be seeing Zach on. He's the headline, BLS headline on the Monsters of Rock cruise this year. So we'll probably wrangle him to come back on the air with us a little bit as well when I see him. Here is Brian in North Carolina. What's going on, Brian?
Hey, man, we're looking at you for Gatlinburg pretty soon.
That's coming. I got a lot of runway between now and then, but I'll see you there if you're going. I look forward to it.
Oh, yeah. Well, I got 2 questions. I'll make it fast. Oversaturation. I love Hailstorm. They've been playing, like, everywhere. And they're opening it for Baby Metal. And I'm not a big Baby Metal fan. And I've talked to guys like, who is Baby Metal? But Hailstorm's everywhere. And I get it's a business. I get it. My question is, are they oversaturating the market with the fan base? That is my question.
Hailstorm?
Yeah.
No.
They're touring. They're touring. It's a business. I get it. But Baby Metal?
Well,
I don't get it. I don't get it.
Well, there's 2 questions. Well, Brian, there's 2 questions. One,
yes.
Over touring and oversaturation or who you're playing with are 2 totally different things. So if you're talking about oversaturation, over touring, that is a band going out there and playing far too much, and the fan base gets fatigued seeing them, and you're like, they come through the city you live in 2-3 times a year, and it's like enough already. Thanks, Brian. I don't think Hailstorm does that at all. I don't think Hailstorm over tours. The other thing about Hailstorm that they don't do, which a lot of other bands do, that does create some oversaturation, is that they absolutely, they don't have any other bands. So it's not like, Lizzie doesn't have a solo band. Lizzie doesn't have, she sang 3-4 shows with Skid Row, but you know what I'm saying? It's not like there's Hailstorm, then there's the Lizzie Hale solo project, then there's the Joe Hottinger, solo project, and the RJ Hale solo project. There's none of that. There's only one band. It's Hailstorm. They're all in that band. That's it. That's very rare. If you heard the interview yesterday with Miles Kennedy, that's the opposite. That thing is like, he even said, I don't know how their agents and managers deal with it, because that's like literally a crossword puzzle with those guys. 3 of the guys are in Alter Bridge and Creed. Tremonti does his own thing. Tremonti sings Sinatra. Miles does Alter Bridge and has a solo thing and sings with Slash. Like, it's connecting dots. So that's, again, you can call that how you want, but that is more the norm now than anything. Hailstorm's just one band. They don't bridge out. They don't do you could easily say, oh, was Lizzie going to do a solo album? She's never done that. So I don't think there's oversaturation there at all. Now, your question about, well, what about baby metal? And that doesn't make sense. I don't think that's entirely wrong for you to question that. But here's why that they would do something like that. Because it brings a different audience. Because they get in front of people that normally wouldn't see them. Meaning that a band like Hailstorm has played for years now on a lot of the usual yearly festivals in America and with bands you'd expect them to tour with. And I think, bands to continue growing and to get in front of other people's audiences and maybe convert people who don't know about them is really the objective while you're still trying to ascend. And Hailstorm are certainly a pretty big, well-known band, but they're still on the rise. They're far from a household name. Certainly outside of rock, they're not a household name. So that's why you would do something like that. Whether you like the band you're opening for or not, I don't know how they feel about the band. It's irrelevant. From a business standpoint, if you can get in front of another band's audience that are not people that necessarily know you, maybe they're younger, older, different demographic, and every night 10% of those people leave there saying, hey, I really like that band that was on before. I'm going to go listen to them, or I'm going to go see them. Mission accomplished. That's what it's about. If you play with the same kind of bands every year on the same sort of festivals in the same pool, that's fine, but you're never going to really, because you're not going to get more audience because all those people know about you. They've been watching you for 20 years. I'm not a baby metal fan. That's not my thing, but from a growth standpoint, I understand why they would do it. And if it's not for you, then just don't go. Because all these bands tour nonstop anyway. In 6 months, there's going to be another tour announced, whether it's a headline tour or maybe with the band that you like. So that's how it really works. Here is our Mexico City report from our buddy Kraus. How are you, Kraus?
Hola, Eddie. Joel, Sebastian, it's Tony.
Hey, Kraus, real quick, before you give us your report here, just got to tell you, I contacted your friend Rudy, who manages The Warning yesterday. I sent him an email.
Cool.
Because for 2 reasons. One, I want to see if I want to go to the show in LA. I want to see if he can, get me in at the Greek.
I will be there. I will be there.
Well, then I know you're going to get me in because you got all the juice.
Right. No, I'll handle it.
What's that?
I will handle it. Yes, I will talk to Rudy.
And the other thing is, Kraus, I wanted to tell him that if The Warning wants to come on the radio show, they're also going to be in Vegas a couple days before. Now, I don't know if I can actually make that show, but I'll be there, and we have a studio there. And I've offered in the email to Rudy, I said, if they're in Vegas with an hour or something in the afternoon that they can come by, I would have put him on the air and have him on in person from our studio there with video and the whole thing. So I've emailed him yesterday. I didn't hear back from him yet, but make sure you stay on him for me, all right?
I will call him. I will call him, and I'll get this fixed out.
Kraus is the man. Thank you, buddy. I just want to let you know I did that because you connected me with them. So, and you're the reason they were on this show, and people really liked them, and even the video online's done really well. So I'm looking forward to seeing them in person and actually seeing them play live. And then if we can get them in studio, it'll be great.
It's on the Greek Theater. It's with Youngblood, and it's my birthday. I will be there with my son.
Oh, I look forward to meeting you then, too. Very cool. So anyway, Kraus, what did you want to talk about? AC/DC?
So, despite the spider bite, I can testify that Taylor was amazing. I didn't get lucky. I didn't go backstage on the Tuesday, but I can confirm by the picture that she posted that she was being treated at the dressing rooms in the venue. I know the venue. So, Taylor, if you're listening, you were mind-blowing. Looking forward to see you again tomorrow on Wednesday. What can I say about AC/DC, man? First time in Mexico City in 17 years. And it's AC/DC, and it's 80,000 crazy Mexicans. For those about to rock, they certainly saluted us. It was amazing. It was really, really good.
How did Kraus? How did Brian sound? How did Brian Johnson hold up?
Very good, extremely good. And you know what? They're playing again tomorrow, and they're playing again Wednesday. So they're leaving 4 days between shows. So I'm guessing that gives him the time to recoup and everything. He sounds great. The band sounds very tight. It's really good. It's a really good show.
Are they still playing like 2 hours, 2-hour show?
Yeah.
Pretty much the same set list as last year. I haven't looked at the set list.
It's the same set list they played last year and in River Plate in Argentina. It's the same place. The same set list. It's close to 2 hours. Going to Dream Theater tonight. First time ever seeing them. I'm very excited. 20,000 seater. Saturday, round 2 of AC/DC. Next week, the third round of AC/DC, but also Black Label Society and the Flaming Lips are playing here in Mexico City. Same venue, different days. Bruce Dickinson is having a signing session in Mexico City on the realms of the Mexican version of the Comic-Con. I'm going to go there. Sebastian, if you're listening, I'm so bummed that the Twisted Sister show for the first week of May in Mexico City was officially canceled a day or two ago. I was very looking forward to seeing you. And speaking of sets, Eddie, I think that the short sets that you got last week and I got last week from Guns N' Roses, I think they were 2.5-hour sets because they were sets for festival shows. You got 26 songs, I got 24. I think they will be back at 3-hour shows when they get back to the States on a regular show. I wanted to add, yes.
Real quick, Kraus, because I got to get to a break. What was the other thing?
Yes. No, I was going to say that I was hoping that on Monday, the 27th of this month, we celebrate our beloved spaceman's first birthday on
100%.
Space. And callers could call in with personal experiences with Ace, brushes that they have with Ace. Through my life, I only saw him once, and it's one of my favorite anecdotes and includes Alice Cooper. So it would be great if everybody that had the opportunity to meet him and do something as a fan would be amazing to pitch in, and we all celebrate our beloved spaceman, man.
100%, Kraus. Thank you for everything, buddy. We'll talk to you soon. 100%. We will, Joel, and put that on the calendar. April 27th is Ace's birthday, and we will remember him and celebrate him on that day. Obviously, his first birthday that's come up since we've lost him. Still hard for me to process, but we will absolutely celebrate and do an Ace Day on what would have been his birthday on the 27th of this month. 100%. So we can plan on that, Kraus. Couple things from Kraus's call. Dream Theater does 20,000 people in Mexico. That's insane. Also, Kraus talking about the Guns N' Roses set being 2.5, and he thinks and hopes it gets out to 3 hours again. I respectfully disagree with our friend Kraus. I personally think that the set should live around 2 to 2.5 hours. I just think I don't know. I think I don't care who the band is, and this can be a whole nother debate, but I think, look, Guns 2.5 is okay, but when they were doing 3, I just thought it got a little too long. And again, there were a lot of covers and jams and all that. I'll take a tight 2 hours any day of the week. I think that's the sweet spot, especially if you're playing at the end of a festival when 6, 7 other bands played and that audience, even though they're all there to see you, I personally feel that would be my preference. So I don't think they should go out to 3. The other thing that happens when you get super long too is, these guys, I mean, again, they're not young. They'll run out of steam a little bit, especially the singers. That's why I asked him how Brian Johnson sounded, because when I went to AC/DC last year, Brian sounded good in the first hour, but by the middle to the end of the second hour, he was definitely running out of steam a little bit. And that's more than understandable given what the man is singing at his age. But I'll take, a 90-minute, 100-minute set, kick ass, no loss of energy over stretching it out any day of the week. And yes, for those that don't know, Kraus in Mexico is a regular caller. When people were calling this show and talking about the Mexican band, The Warning, he was the guy who made it happen to get them on the show and connected me with their manager, who I think is a friend of his. And that's how they came to be on with us. I guess it was last year. So I'm going to be in LA when they are playing with Youngblood at the Greek, and I want to go to that. And I think it's a sold out show, but Kraus, I think I'd probably be able to help me out there. And it's his birthday, so I get to meet the guy. That'd be cool. And then see Youngblood, of course, if he's, it's his show, I believe. But the other thing I noticed is they're in Vegas because The Warning is opening the Youngblood tour. And they're in Vegas a few days before that LA show. So the LA show is definitely the one I want to make. But when they're in Vegas, if it works out, I'll put the offer out to Youngblood as well to try to get them to come into the studio. And we did, we had The Warning on, and we had them virtually, of course, on Zoom or whatever. And that video's on YouTube. But it's always good when you can get face-to-face with people when the schedule works out. So we got that great studio in the Wynn. It'll be great to be able to use it, and hopefully we can see about that happening. But whether that happens or not, the good news is I'll finally be able to see The Warning live and be able to report to you back on that, as well as Youngblood, who's headlining it. But I'm really interested in seeing The Warning and finally seeing them live. And when I flew from Brazil, on the seat back on the plane, The Warning's concert film was on. So I watched it again on my 10 hours back from Brazil. So that's cool that that's getting out there a little bit and continuing to grow their story. All right. Thank you, Kraus. Appreciate it. Thank you, guys. We still have another hour left to go. Joel, what do you want to play going into the break?
So we'll hear from Frampton with Tom Morello. It's Lions at the Gate.
All right. Let's do a little bit of new Frampton. Again, it's great that Frampton is still creating, still doing some live shows. Obviously, he's had some serious health issues, so always good when you can see he's still well enough to do some stuff. Here's some new Frampton. We'll come back. Another hour of your calls on Trunk Nation on this
Free for All Friday with Eddie Trunk.
PC horseshit. That's what I want to get rid of.
Sirius XM's Faction Talk. This is Free for All Friday.
Everybody's throwing a million things against the wall to see what sticks.
An open forum for all things rock. Trunk Nation with Eddie Trunk.
Play the balls off of it.
Sirius XM's Faction Talk.
All right, we're back. And we are inside of our second and final hour of the week. And as I said earlier, the final show on land as we take it to the cruise. Monsters of Rock broadcasts start on Monday from the ship, if all things go well. I always keep saying that because last year is the only time this happened. We did not get a signal. We could not get the show on the air. But again, I've taken every precaution to make sure that does not happen this year. So hopefully all smooth, and we'll be talking to you each and every day and bringing you the show from the ship with a lot of cool guests. And we'll see if we can work in calls. Again, doing phone calls from the ship over the years has not been really possible because there's too much of a delay. But as I also said, every year the internet stuff seems to get a little bit better. And who knows, maybe that will be workable. We'll test it and see if possible or not. But either way, we'll have enough to talk about and enough bands dropping by that will make it all work. All right, let's get back over to the phones right now. Some of our Friday regulars checking in. Here is Saha, my agent in Long Island. What's going on, buddy?
Eddie, as always, thanks for taking my call.
Yeah, man, you got it.
And Richard Christie, I mean, at this time, Eddie, I mean, he's got to be already making calls, right? About you getting on Stern to promote.
You know, Richard sent me a text with something I forgot what he said. He told me to relay a message to you. And I can't remember what it was exactly, but I think it was something to the effect, something of like, yes, calm down, he's working on it. He actually texted me to tell you what to say next time you called, but I don't have it in front of me and I forgot. But yes, he is fully aware of your campaign. So thank you. But again, the film has to be done first before we worry about that.
Well, just let him know. I'm not going to stop until I see the promo that you're going to be on there.
All right.
Any update on your book, your autobiography?
No. No. Here's what happened. The book, a literary agent contacted me. He had a different idea for a different kind of book initially before the autobiography. So I've been going down that road, but I'm very close to abandoning that idea and going back to my original plan of doing the autobiography. So no, it got hung up as often. Look, there's a lot of times, and I appreciate people with well intentions getting involved and trying to help, but sometimes that just mucks things up and slows things down, and that's exactly what happened here. So in a bit of a holding pattern on that right now. But the documentary, the movie, is still going, but they are now at the phase of trying to get clearances for music in it, and that is time-consuming and also very expensive, so we're trying to work out the budgets and figure that all out.
All right, nice. Yeah, we can't wait for that. Getting back to the covers and the set list and all that, the Foo Fighters kind of annoy me with that because they, like, for the past, I've been seeing them since like '95. I stopped seeing them like 5 or 6 years ago. Because first of all, the set list is pretty much 75% the same since for the past 20 years. And what they do is in the middle of the set, they'll take like 10 or 15 minutes and they'll play like a 4 or 5 song medley of songs, and he'll go on. He'll introduce the guys in the band. It's like, hey, come on, we all know the Foo Fighters. Let's just play some old songs that you haven't played in 20 years.
Well, I have not seen the Foo Fighters all that much. I've not seen, last time I saw Foo Fighters at the Forum in LA. At the time I saw them, we were still doing that metal show, so it's over 10 years ago. And I saw them at Voodoo Fest in New Orleans when I was hosting a TV show for Access. So I don't see them all that often to know what they do as far as their as far as on a regular basis with their shows. The one thing when I saw them, Saha, at the Forum in LA, the one thing that I remember about that show that I thought was a little much was how much Dave Grohl talked. He talked between the songs a lot. It's stories and talking, and then the band would like play softly behind him. He'd do this whole long talking thing. And I remember when I left that show, I think it was with Don and Jim, and they were like, man, if he cut out like 5 stories, we could have gotten 5 more songs. So I do remember that, but it's been a while since I've seen them.
Yeah, that's why I just don't go anymore. I've seen them plenty. And one more quick thing. I saw Billy Idol and Steve Stevens. They were on they were on the Billy Corgan podcast or YouTube show or whatever. And it got me thinking. I know you get the actual, stuff in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, like the list and everything. If Billy Idol goes in, does he take? Like, is Steve Stevens, do you think, have anything to do with that?
Yes, Steve was on the ballot.
Oh, nice, excellent.
So Steve will go in. I saw Steve in Vegas at that Royal Machine show a couple weeks ago. Thank you, Saha. Appreciate it. Actually, speaking of that, I got a really cool photo. I'll text it. I'll post it if I can during the next commercial break or when the show's over. But that night when I went to that Royal Machines All-Star thing in Vegas a couple weeks ago, they took a big photo. They were taking photos with everybody, and I got a great photo of me with Steve Stevens, Sammy Hagar, Billy Morrison, Josh Freese, all these guys that played it, Corey Taylor, all backstage. It's really cool. A different photographer took it, and they literally just sent it to me yesterday, so I'm going to post that. It's a great shot. But yes, Steve Stevens is included in the Billy Idol induction should Billy Idol get the nod. Joel, have they announced when they're announcing the winners yet?
No, we don't know when they're announced yet. I know the fan polling wrapped up, so there's nothing left for all the deadlines have hit to get votes in. We just don't know when they're announcing. I think what I was reading was that I think we're kind of expecting it later this month, but we'll see.
I'm hold on. I know it's hard to say hold on when I'm doing a live radio show and there's nothing to fill, but I'm going to get an answer. Hey, when are the inductees being announced for this year? Okay, waiting on a text back. I could have an answer for you any minute. Again, I know the guy who runs the entire nomination committee is an old friend and ally, the great Rick Krim. So I just texted him just this second and see what he comes back to me with. Maybe I'll have an answer. Oh, here we go. Oh, wow. That was quick. I'm just making sure that he knows I'm on the air right now and that I'm going to say this publicly because, again, I have to watch every single thing that I do because sometimes, stuff is public. It isn't this or that. I just got hit up about having a major artist on. Okay, now he's double checking before I can say it on the air. This is what I'm saying. This is just a little peek into the insanity of my world, you guys. So he just told me the answer we want to know. I was about to say it into the microphone. I go, hey, I'm on the air live right now. Can I publicly say that? He goes, wait, hold on. Let me check. Do you see what I'm at? See what happens? Like I was just about to blurt it out. I would have caught shit for that. All I'm trying to do is get the word out about something. I was just hit up, and I'm going to, again, I keep the names out of it in these cases because I don't want to cause more drama. I was just hit up about a major artist coming on this show about a solo thing, remembering that his main band's management will go crazy if they didn't know. So I had to double back and said, hey, are you aware that this person wants to come on? And they, no, don't wait. Well, you got to look at, see what I'm saying? So if I would have just said yes to that other band's rep, I would have gotten killed by the main band and they would have taken it out on me. It's nuts. The politics and the shit I deal with behind the scenes. It's crazy. Okay, gave me the red light. The green light. So the Hall of Fame nominees, who is going in, is going to be announced this Monday. Once again on American Idol. Maybe that's a little bit of an exclusive I just brought you. I don't know, because it's not been anywhere else online. But you will find out who is and is not making it this year during American Idol this coming Monday. They did it during American Idol last year as well. I remember, speaking of Stern and Richard, I remember last year when they did it on American Idol, I did not see it happen, but they pumped in so much fake applause during the announcements of the names that you couldn't hear very well who the people were. And I remember Howard was ripping on that on the air because he was playing the audio, and it was just like, you know, people roaring applause, like whoever went in last year. I don't remember whoever it was, like, you know, Foreigner. It sounded like a stadium of people. They were clearly piping it in as if like the people in the American Idol audience were like rabid because Foreigner. So this year it could be like, does Ryan Seacrest still do American Idol? Do we know that? I've never even watched the show.
I have no idea. I have to look it up. That's how
so
much
it could
I
be
know
Ryan
about it.
Seacrest like, and this year, Iron Maiden. As if like the 20-year-old in the American Idol audience is like, yes, finally they got in. Rhyme of the Ancient Mariner rules. You tell this guy was just guy in the sound booth just riding the fader every time it was Seacrest at the time would announce the band, you know. And this year, also going in, T-Rex. It's so fake. Hey, let's hope if it is Ryan Seacrest, let's hope that we hear Iron Maiden's name, speak their name.
It is indeed Ryan Seacrest.
All right, so here you get to Seacrest gets to say Iron Maiden, something he's never said ever in his radio career. Hopefully he'll say on American Idol. Because he does top 40 radio, you know. He's never backsold an Iron Maiden song. Coming in from 2019, here is Iron Maiden from Senjutsu. Let's go to the Final Frontier album. Here's Coming Home. By the way, I'm not shitting in any way on Ryan Seacrest. That guy's had an amazing career, and I have a lot of respect for that guy. I met him one time, but I got a lot of respect for him because that guy put the work in, man. That guy was like, he hustled in Hollywood doing multiple shows. He built an empire, that guy. And he put the work in to do it. It wasn't handed to him. So I always give him, even though I don't know him, I met him once. Actually, the one time I met him, it was at some award show in Vegas or whatever. He came up to me, he goes, hey, your TV show's great. And when I was doing that metal show, I was like, what? And I remember it was just after the show got canceled, and I was like, hey, you got a production company. How much did you love it? So that was the thing about that metal show. Everybody loved it. Everybody loved what it brought to them. Everybody loved how it sold records for them. Everybody loved the platform it was. And then it was gone. All these people had said they were going to do this, that, and the other to bring it back. Nothing. Short memories. Jacob in Dallas. What's going on, Jacob?
Hey, Eddie. Well, quick before I get a few questions about your Guitar Sanctuary appearance. I did go see Styx at one of these casinos in Oklahoma. And I do have to say that these casino shows for a lot of these bands very entertaining, especially if you can, get the hotel for the night and all of that. So big ups to those. And show was 10 out of 10, 100% live. And even small details on the songs where, there's other people play, Tommy Shaw's playing the keyboards, on certain parts. Very, very awesome. So big ups to Styx. But the questions I have about your Guitar Sanctuary appearance, so it's going to be like 2 hours speaking. Is there any chance that fans taking a picture with you or autographs or anything like that? Or is it real kind of buttoned up and...
No. It's usually in the past when I've done it there, I have always just at the end done photos with everybody on the way out if they'd like. And actually what I did last time I did it there, which is a couple years, 2-3 years ago, there is a woman named April Samuels who is a breast cancer survivor. And she has a charity called Cancer Can Stick It. She's a drummer. And when I did it the last few years, a few years ago, I did not charge anybody. It was not a paid meet and greet, but what I did do was April had a little table set up there, and I just told people, throw a buck, throw anything you can afford into her bucket for the cancer charity, and I'll sign, take photos, whatever. So we made some money for a great cause. I didn't take a penny of it, and it helped her out. So that was the way we did it. And I'll probably do the same thing because I know she's going to be there again with the table. And also this brewery who gives everybody free beer is going to be there. So it's always a fun time. I've done the speaking show thing. I've done at Guitar Sanctuary probably more than anywhere else. I think it's my third or fourth time. They're always super well attended. They're always fun. And as far as how long I'm on stage doing it, it really depends on the audience. It can be as little as 70 minutes. I've been up there as much as 2 hours. Really just depends. It's very spontaneous. So it's a lot of fun. And yeah, if you come on out, I'd be happy to meet you.
Very nice, Eddie, and we'll see you. And I love you, man. I've been listening to you for a long time. I'm one of your younger fans, so it'll be a great night, man.
Well, thank you, Jacob. I look forward to meeting you then, and we'll see you there in McKinney. I appreciate it very much. Yeah, and announced another speaking show in the Dallas area, McKinney, on the 25th of June. It's a music store. It's a guitar shop called Guitar Sanctuary, but they have a little performance space in the back, really nice room. And yeah, it's my third or fourth one there. And it's just great. My buddy Brian manages the place, does a great job, and it's a great location. It's a nice area of Texas. And I got Tom Kiefer and LA Guns that I'm hosting in Houston on the 27th, so I'm going to do this on the 25th. And the really cool thing about that Brian alerted me to is Rush is playing at that time there. Now, thankfully, they're not playing the night I'm doing the speaking show because obviously nobody's going to come to see me when Rush is playing. But they're playing the night before and the night after. So I'm going to also try to catch Rush early in the tour if I can and do that when I'm there as well. So yeah, those are always fun ones there. So thank you, Jacob. Look forward to seeing you. And back to what Jacob was talking about casino shows, you know, there used to be a stigma about bands playing casinos because the connotation was, oh, that means the band is on their last legs. The band is washed up. For a long time, there were bands that resisted doing shows in casinos. To this day, there's some bands that don't like it. The biggest reason why bands don't like it now is because casino dates, as I've talked about many, many times, those shows, the casino, of course, wants to sell tickets to the show, but it's more about bringing people into the casino to get them to gamble. And that's where they make their money. So even if they lose money on a concert, it's not a big deal because they'll make it up when the people are on their way out, hopefully at the tables or the slot machines. So again, I've told this story before. It's a very different business model for casino shows. And that's one of the reasons why some bands don't like doing it, because half the audience could be people that just got free tickets through their casino program and the player program, and they're indifferent about seeing the band, and it can make a weird vibe in the audience. But some of that's really dissipated because now there are a lot of casino shows that have really big bands, and that it's not bands on their last legs, or it's not bands on the way out. It's not bands that have been around just 40 or 50 years. There's younger bands doing it. I mean, there was a negative connotation for many years about an act playing Vegas, because it was thought, not just because Vegas is filled with casinos, but because it was thought of like, oh, that's where you go on your last legs, Vegas. You know, that's where the old timers go. That's all long gone. Youngblood and The Warning are playing Vegas. I mean, that thing has totally been blown out of the water. But there was always that perception, which is why some people stayed away from it. But for a fan, a casino date is great if you want to make a night of it and get a room and you don't have to drive and you have some drinks and you can gamble. So that's great. Whether the casino is in Vegas or not, you know, it's inherent to a casino gig. And now the other thing that's happening with casino dates is they're starting to do these package deals, even if the venue isn't in the casino. I mentioned this the other day. There is a company now, which I believe Live Nation also owns, called Vibee, Vibee. And they partner with whatever the event is and offer all-inclusive packages that will have a room for the night, sometimes ground transportation, sometimes meal vouchers, sometimes like some VIP access thing. So what will happen is the promoter will sell X amount of tickets or give X amount of tickets, 5,000 tickets or whatever, if it's a 20,000 ticket thing, to this company Vibee. And then they turn around and repurpose it and remarket it and say, okay, they make a deal with the local casino or the hotel, and then they go and resell that to you and say, okay, for $1,500, you get 2 tickets, you get a room for 3 nights, you get this, you get that. And it's kind of one-stop shopping. The funny thing about it all is it's still all Live Nation. So you see where the problems are with Live Nation, because I think Vibee is owned by Live Nation. Not 100% sure, but I think I was told that. So now you know why Live Nation has been in Congress or whatever being investigated, because the same company at the end of the day is the venue, the ticketing company, now this packaging company, the promoter. And yes, Joel just confirmed it is owned by Live Nation owns Vibee. So you can see the thing. Live Nation owns everything, which is why they're literally trying to break it up right now in DC, and these hearings are happening. You can see where that becomes a little bit of a problem. So we'll continue to follow that story. But point being is, these are the very positive things about whether they be casino dates or even in the case of Vegas. Vibee did a deal for the Eagles at the Sphere. When Kiss did the landlocked cruise thing in Vegas, Vibee was involved in that. I believe they're involved in Metallica at the Sphere, offering packages. But, one of the negatives of that, the downside of that people point to is, now you think about this, you guys, and I know I'm going to get to more calls, but my mind just goes trying to fill you in on how all this works. If you got a hot ticket to a concert, like a Metallica or something like that, think about how many tickets now are pulled out for various reasons. Like, you already know the best areas are pulled out for the VIP upcharge packages, right? So right out of the gate, before a show goes on sale, the best locations are going to be pulled out because they're being made available in these upcharge meet and greet packages as part of those packages. Now, if you got a company that's in line with the rest of the companies, and now they're pulling out however many tickets because they're including them in the hotel packages, that's why you have a case where people are like, say to themselves, well, how the hell is the show sold out? It didn't even go on sale yet. How are tickets being scalped? They didn't even go on sale yet. Because all these things are pulled out and held. But that's also why, if the show didn't sell well, day of the show, you might get a great seat for a quarter of the price. It's all like playing the stock market, you guys. I said a long, long time ago, years ago, I called it. I said, concert tickets are becoming what it's like to buy a plane ticket. On any given day, the price could change. You could be sitting next to the guy, he paid $200 more than you paid for your seat, or vice versa, depending upon when he bought it, how full the plane was, the demand, the price of fuel. I looked at some plane tickets. It used to be a thing where it was always buy your plane tickets as far in advance as you can for the cheapest price. And for the most part, that still is kind of the case, but not exclusively, no way. and you're talking to somebody who flies almost once a week at this point, somewhere for something. If you look and work that a little bit, and I pretty much exclusively fly on one airline, United, because that's where all my points are. But occasionally I'll use another airline if I can't get there direct on United. And you got to work it. You can look and see, like 2 weeks ago, I was looking at these flights to Texas I need to take. They were sky high. The other day I went on, they dropped significantly. And that was later, a week or two later. Now, whether it's the price of fuel, who knows? But it's the same thing with concert tickets. It's all supply and demand. So work it to your advantage. It's all you can do. Joel, what do you want to play going to the break?
I want to play a little bit of Dog Star here. The single Joy is what came out today. So we'll give people who haven't heard this band a little taste of what they're like. Okay,
this is the band that Keanu Reeves has had for a long time. He's toured with this band. He's had this for decades. But kind of inactive for a while. And then they started it up again in the last year or so. Concert dates, new music, etc. So, all right, we'll keep working through a Free For All Friday with more of your calls. I'll get in as much as I can in the trunk. I'm just talking experience that I've seen happen over the years.
Sirius XM's Faction Talk. Sirius XM Faction Talk. Open phones, open form, so you can speak your mind. Any band, any topic.
Who is the most famous person that you have ever butt done?
Eddie. And welcome to Trunk Nation.
With host Eddie Trunk.
Okay, we are back. Let's get some more people in here. Before we have to wrap it up, we have our distributor of the Trunk Nation bumper stickers, is the depot, if you will. Here's Ray in Maryland. Hey, Ray.
What's going on, brother?
How you doing, man? How's the sticker business?
I'm paper in the country and Canada.
Oh, you're going international with it, right?
Oh, please. It isn't just a ha on this shit. It's me, too.
You better be making these people pay for the postage, man. You're going to go broke.
I still have it, but I'm fine.
You know, I'll tell you a quick story, Ray, about the stickers. I think I mentioned this. I may have mentioned this on the air. I don't know.
Oh,
I got
with the tube?
The tube, yeah.
Yeah, that was great.
Sent me a poster tube with $10 of postage in it because he didn't want his stickers folded. So the tube, I could put them in the tube and they'd be protected. And I was like, it's $10. It's not $10 to send a little poster tube. Don't you know I went to the post office yesterday and I mailed the guy the tube? It was like $9.60. Postage is expensive, man. Like, not a stamp, but it's crazy.
He could have just hit me up and not paid a dime because I put them in oversized envelopes and don't crease them. So,
you're going above and beyond, man. I mean, everybody give a shout out to Ray in Maryland. Come on, that's amazing.
Yeah, man. I'm happy to spread the word, and you're welcome. Oh, man, you brought up, I got a few things to touch on, but you brought up running into Seacrest, and he liked that metal show. Can you just imagine if his production company got it, and he's like the announcer, this is that metal show. And then he introduces you guys and like Florentine farts and be like a whole different thing for him.
I take it. I don't care who's doing it. Let's do it. Let's go. I'll do it.
Yeah.
You know, speaking of Florentine and those two knuckleheads, Sunday, tomorrow, we are all on this, because we are all on this Monsters of Rock cruise, and we'll probably wrangle them for a little bit for a segment on the show, but we are all on the same flight tomorrow going to Miami. So it's going to be like flashbacks to when we used to go to LA to do the show, with the stupidity that will go on that plane and in the terminal in Newark Airport tomorrow. It will be stupid times 1,000.
I wish I was with the three of you. That would be awesome. But hey, man, I got a few things to bring up. Did you happen to catch any of Saturday Night Live last weekend?
No. What was on?
Okay. Jack Black hosted again. You know, he did it last year too. and the musical guest was Jack White. And Jack always brings the rock to whatever he does. Over the top, but, cool shit. And he opened with this thing, and he's like, the only thing that can save this is The Rock. And he goes into Seven Nations Army by the White Stripes, and then the band starts breaking into it with him, and Jack comes out. He's got the guitar cranked, and it was really cool opening. Of course, he changed the words to make it about, SNL and everything. And I got to tell you, dude, the two songs, I'm not a huge White Stripes guy, and I couldn't name more than like two songs that Jack White and the White Stripes do combined. But the two songs he did, his guitar was loud, it was heavily distorted and raw, and he ripped, dude. It was like the best rock night. And there were a couple of other sketches that Jack was involved in as well, where he, infused rock and hard rock and metal into them. So it was a really cool rock representation. Every time Jack does that, as over the top as the guy is, he's really dedicated to his hard rock and metal. So I wanted to mention that. And dude, I am obsessed with Black Label Society's latest album, Engines of Demolition. It is so frigging good. And just for your listeners and all the people on the fan page, I don't know if they know this, but on April 19th, it's a Sunday at 5 o'clock Eastern, I believe it is, Veeps, the streaming service Veeps, is streaming a full show of Zach Sabbath and Black Label Society in its entirety, and it is paid. You do have to pay for it. It's like $14 or something like that, but I'm going to do it because the show that's coming near me is on a Monday. And I also found out today, speaking of Night Ranger release and dates, that they're going to be playing at the casino in Ocean City, Maryland, which is literally a half-hour drive for us. And $25 tickets, they're going to be, and it's a Saturday night, so that's going to be really cool, man. And I just want to say also hello to all my friends on the Fans of Truck Nation Facebook group. All of them. They're so great, man. It's such a positive group, and, I've made a lot of great friends there, and they love the show, and they're here for all the right reasons, man. And I hope you have a great time on the cruise, Eddie. I wish I could be there with you guys, but, didn't work out this year, but maybe next time.
All right, buddy. Well, thank you for everything, and thank you to the group there, and appreciate it, man. We'll talk to you soon. I've got the new BLS. I've listened to some of it. I've not listened to the whole thing start to finish, about 4 or 5 tracks. I've been super busy, but I have it loaded on my phone to maybe listen to even on the flight tomorrow a little bit more. Because, again, I'm sure we'll get Zach on at some point again next week to come by and say hello. As a matter of fact, I'll probably try to text him. Just don't know scheduling-wise, when it's going to work, but I'll try to figure that out. But I'm sure we'll get him to come by again. We'll get the Night Ranger guys on again. A lot of stuff will happen. Just got to kind of get into it and get my head into that schedule and figuring out where everybody's going to be and who's going to be able to get texts and who isn't, because that's another thing when you're on a cruise ship. Some people have service, some do not. Some buy it, some do not. But we always have some cool stuff happen. So we'll do our best and see what is available. But a lot of love for Zach and the BLS record and these shows. We've taken a bunch of calls on it already, and I'll see him, like I said, on the cruise as he headlines for the first time. He's the first time for him on Monsters of Rock this time around. And from what I've heard of Engines Demolition, the BLS album, from what I've heard of it, up till this point, my favorite BLS album was Mafia. This is right there. It's really, really good. Let's say hi to Joe in Pittsburgh. What's going on, Joe?
What's up, Eddie? I'm going to see Triumph tonight at the Hard Rock at Universal Studios, and I'm heading right to Miami. So I'm looking forward to the cruise.
That's right. I forgot to mention that, Joe. Yeah, Triumph starts tonight in in Orlando, right?
Yeah, Hard Rock Cafe in Orlando. Yes, right at Universal Studios.
It's part of a car show. It's like a Make-A-Wish thing or something.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll see you on the cruise.
Yeah, Joe.
You can help me celebrate my birthday too, right?
When is that, Joe?
We're on the cruise.
Oh, well, happy birthday in advance, Joe. That's awesome.
53 years old, and I'm still kicking ass.
Well, yeah, good for you, buddy. Good for you. Well, yeah, I'll see you on board. And yeah, I'm curious, man. I'm glad that you told me that because I forgot that Triumph was starting tonight. I've been mentioning it all week, but I forgot it's actually tonight. So tonight and tomorrow they're in, I think tomorrow they're in, no, not tomorrow, maybe Sunday they're in Hollywood, Florida, I think.
Yeah. And also to correct you, I wanted to correct you on Atlanta real quick. You were at the Vinnie Vincent return for the KISS convention.
Right, but there was something I went to for a concert in Atlanta. I can't remember.
Yeah, I don't remember that one. But the only one I remember is the Vinnie Vincent one. But anyway, I'm going to take off. God bless.
Right, Joe. Travel safe, man.
Flight.
You too. We'll see you. There's Joe in Pittsburgh joining. I know Joe forever. Joe reminded us, and yeah, that's a great call there, that Triumph starts tonight. Tonight in Orlando. Small place, and then I believe Sunday, Hollywood at the Hard Rock, which is a big theater. And then, as I was mentioning the other day, there's like 5 nights off before the actual tour starts. I think these opening Florida dates were kind of add-ons. They were kind of tacked on, but it should be real interesting tonight, around 10 o'clock or so, 10:30 when that show ends, and you start seeing all the stuff hit social media, what the response is and the vibe is from Triumph, because this is significant. I mean, this band has not toured. I mean, so the last time Triumph played a show, I hosted it. It was, I believe, 08 or 09, Rocklahoma. That year, Triumph only did 2 reunion shows, one in Sweden and then that one in Oklahoma. Okay, so if it was 08, that's 17 years ago. 18 years ago. And that was not a tour. That was 2 one-off shows. The last time Triumph toured, has got to be 30 years. This is a tour. And we also know that they are a very different version of Triumph. So there's questions here. As much as we've done stuff with those guys, and we've done a lot leading into this tour, and I love those guys, and I'm glad they're doing this, there's obviously questions because the band is going from a 3-piece to a 6-piece, as we've talked about. I went on Triumph's website the other day, and there was a post that they made saying, we need to get something straight. This is not a Triumph tribute show. Because I guess they got blowback because they're bringing, other people that are going to play guitar and lead singing and stuff like that. Todd Kearns, Brent Fitz, our 2 buddies, Phil X, who was just on the show. So there's I guess some of the fans are kind of well, is this really Triumph or not anymore? And then, but again, at least they're being transparent that they need this help. And at least they're not running tapes to do it. And then the other big question is, does Mike Levine play? Because Mike Levine, the bass player in the band and a big part of the band, is, had some health concerns, and nobody knows how much he is or isn't going to do. And if he is or is not going to actually play the shows. Now, I believe Mike has a home in Florida, and given that this is the opening night of this whole thing, I would think if he's going to play, it would be tonight and maybe Sunday, but that'll be another thing. Yeah, this is the statement on the Triumph website. The additional musicians are there to support a bigger world-class live production, not to replace anyone. Todd Kearns, Brent Fitz, and Phil X are helping strengthen the live sound so the show hits the levels fans expect every night. Yeah, because they admit that at this point in their life, and there's nothing wrong with this, at this age, they need the help. There's nothing wrong with that. Again, anything versus recorded shit. Gil and Rick will be performing at every show. Mike will be performing at select shows. So is opening night one of the select shows? I don't know. And I do remember that was happening tonight because I believe they're running like a bus from Orlando down to Miami for people who are going on the cruise like Joe. Because I remember Triumph approached me wanting me to host Sunday at the Hard Rock in Hollywood. And obviously I couldn't do it because that's the day we leave on the ship. Because that show needed some help on Sunday, whereas tonight is a smaller place and was sold out. So I wish him well. I hope it goes great. I am as curious as anybody to see what it looks and sounds like. Obviously, it's going to be fan posts and stuff tonight, but seeing what the set list is, seeing if Mike is there, seeing who does what, who sings what. A lot of questions are going to be answered tonight around 11 o'clock Eastern time. Let's go to Canada. Here's Jason joining us. Hi, Jason.
Hello, Eddie. How are you?
Good, Jason. What's going on?
Good. I just wanted to share some interesting festival lineups for you. I know recently you discussed some of these eclectic lineups on some of these festivals where there's rap artists and country artists and rock artists. So there's a festival in Saskatchewan. I'm in Manitoba, and it's about 6 hours away from me. It's between Regina and Saskatoon. It's called Country Thunder. My wife's a big country music fan, so I kind of follow what they're doing and what's going on there. But 3 years ago, Nickelback actually was the headliner. And, I mean, it's a full-blown country festival, all country artists. So everybody was kind of like, oh, okay, well, maybe this is a one-off. Well, last year, Def Leppard headlined it on the Sunday, and this year, Creed headlines it.
And it's a country festival.
Country, all country.
Well, yeah, wasn't it last year, the big country festival, Stagecoach? I think Creed played that too. How Creed is fitting into the country world, I don't know, but it's interesting.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, I think years ago it was called Big Valley Jamboree or something, but I kind of thought maybe you'd find that interesting that, three, and again, like I said, with Nickelback, they're Canadian, they're a huge rock band. I mean, they could play anywhere, anything up here, right? But no. Def Leppard last year, and then Creed's headlining it this year. So,
I think what the idea is, and I'm sure, and look, and thank you, Jason. I certainly don't profess to know the country market at all, but I think that probably the country market is probably up against some of the same challenges that the rock market is up against. And what I mean by that is you're constantly trying to figure out how to diversify, get different people to come to your event, and not have redundancy. Because let's be honest, a lot of these festivals, it's the usual suspects a lot of times when they play. You might sit one out one year and they come back the other. 90% of the bands that play on these festivals are on tour. It's just a tour stop for them. So I think there's this need that they're all up against to try to figure out how to make their thing a little different, not being redundant, make it stick out a little. And if you can find big, mainstream, mass appeal bands, even if they're outside of the genre, maybe they bring in some different people and make it look and feel a little different. And when you're talking about a band like Def Leppard, or you're talking about a band like Creed, who had been away for a long time and there's a lot of interest in again, or you're talking about, what was the other one he said, Nickelback, yeah, those bands check all those boxes. Big, massive bands that sold a ton of records that are going to cross over into other genres and make a country festival feel a little bit different and will be accepted by that fan base. Even the one that I'm surprised about is like the rock festivals that you see like Cypress Hill or House of Pain pop up. Those aren't rock bands. But now you're seeing some of that being injected because I think for the same reason, it's like, well, let's try to...